Phantom's Hope by Rene4567. Chapter 4. Chapter 3. Even kings never waste time. Summary. Danny almost gets shocked. Clockwork is an evil genius, and you can't convince me otherwise. I like making my characters rich, sue me, but don't, 'cause I'm not lol. Then he was alerted. It wasn't that the plane had anything on it that was suspicious, but that nothing happened. Nothing had happened. He just left the border of Amity Park an hour ago, and there was no sudden air turbulence or exploding engines. Not even a ghost sense. As Danny was saying, highly suspicious. This morning he had finally packed up all of his clothes and a few of his parents' weapons. Lip blaster, small guns, extra thermoses, a mini portable phantom portal, etc. Leave nothing to chance, for the odds are never in your favor, except when they are. He had bid farewell to his parents and Flad, who had stopped by, refusing to be dropped off by Flad by saying he didn't need drop off. Behind him, Flad smiled and pulled out some file from his briefcase before turning back to Danny's parents. His plan was almost complete. Thankfully, he could fly to the airport, or he would have missed the flight. That Flad hadn't taken advantage of the time to convince his parents to drive him was suspicious, but it probably had something to do with his new phone. Flad's company recently put out a phone secretly filled with ghost tech that could get signal anywhere, they claimed, and no one has been able to disprove the claim. It has become an internet challenge to try and find a place where it doesn't have signal. The phantom phones got signal in an alternate dimension and across time. Good luck finding a place where the upgraded master phone doesn't work. Meanwhile, Flash and some of his fellow superheroes in the space station were staring at his new phone in disbelief. He had just answered a call. How did he even have signal up here? That had convinced his parents that he should get him one as a beta tester for all new updates, which also came with a check in his new bank account every month. The zeros always gave him a headache, but maybe he could pay for the schooling it takes to become an astronaut with the money he earns, reporting the errors he sometimes has on his phone when he visits the ghost zone. Danny had admittedly refused the phone. His parents were another story. The technicians, however, were wondering about the genius beta tester kid the CEO found, who's traveling dimensions constantly and finding fixes for dimensional glitches before the people who are actually trying to glitch the phone. Honestly, when did the kid have time to figure out the Bermuda had a time stream glitch that messed with the clock's time zone? Vlad sent him messages on his new phone every day asking how he is. Danny tolerates the phone because he can communicate with his sister, Jazz, even when he's in a different time stream. Danny usually texts instead of calls because one time Danny had called in the Bermuda and it was past his bedtime. Danny found a way to avoid the ghost zone's portal interference, but better safe than sorry. Meanwhile, Clarion was cursing while looking at his phone. This is in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle. How is the connection still okay? There are gates to hell here. On the other side of the call, Billy rolled his eyes. He'd been getting calls from the demon for weeks already. He made it to the airport with time to spare, which leads to this moment. Just when he seriously debated leaving the plane and just flying the rest of the way, everything froze, and so time stopped. Danny smiled politely at his mentor, but was wary of what he might request from him. Most of his glitches occurred on a task from Clockwork. Clockwork, Danny greeted, the ghost of time. What can I do for you? Good afternoon, Danny. You know the plane is safe, right? None of the ghosts will risk breaking the treaty to bring you out of retirement. Clockwork smiled. To Danny it was a slightly patronizing, and he was overcome with a sense of foreboding. If Danny had gone ghost, he would find out that the plane is inside a portable ghost shield that shocks any ghosts inside. Clockwork is fine because time is frozen. Why? Danny asks. Clockwork smiles politely, with his eyes closed in his child form. He looked like a cheeky kid with a secret. Why wouldn't they risk breaking the treaty? If anyone else had told him that the ghost didn't want to attack him and break the treaty, he probably wouldn't have mentioned it. Probably. But this was Clockwork, and his mentor was never one to waste time. Because when you turn 18, you will become the Ghost King, and the observants can't do anything, because I blocked all of their attempts for the past year, thereby avoiding their rights and yours to interfere. Danny shut up, straight, eyes wide open. By the way, Vlad just finished making you the official heir to his company after getting your parents' signatures. For what it's worth, I'm sorry, Prince Phantom. Time in. And Clockwork was gone. Meanwhile, Danny held his head and the bridge of his nose as he repeatedly muttered, "Why me?" in pathetic tone. Unbeknownst to Danny, though, something was happening back home that was far worse than he knew right now, and maybe the true reason Clockwork apologized. Jack and Maddie were reviewing the original schematics of the portal in order to build another for the town square, after having unknowingly signed their son away, when they agreed to let Danny be Vlad's heir. When checking the schematics, though, they noticed an issue, and the reason the portal didn't work when they first built it. The on button was on the inside of the portal. How did it turn on? How did Danny turn it on? Maddie turned to Jack with tears in her eyes. Jack looked back at the drawing. Jack looked back with drawing horror. Vlad never knew that Maddie was in charge of placing the button. He just blamed Jack when the portal incidents were both Jack and Maddie's faults. He only ever blamed Jack. But Danny didn't know that, doesn't know what's been done, and won't find out a long time. Standing in front of a grave, not his own, and yet his. Right now he was contemplating his life decisions, specifically the hero complex he will never admit to having. Why do I always have to save them when they always hate me?